Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. The Big Mortal Kombat 1 balance patch is live, and we got a lot to go over as there's quite a lot of changes to Mortal Kombat 1. Now, a lot of these changes are bug fixes, like small little tweaks that don't necessarily bear full discussion. If you want to check out the full and complete patch notes, I will have that linked for you in the video description. But in this video, we're going to be going over all the major changes, both for the characters and for the cameos, as cameos have quite a few distinct changes as well. And also, let's just go over some of the changes that are maybe not, directly gameplay related, but just fun to talk about. So if you look at the full complete patch notes here, just some things. There's Halloween stages added, in case you were not aware. Johnny Cage's mansion now has a Halloween variation. Also things like the shrine is faster, just burning your coins on the shrine, because that was glacial. Now that's quite a bit faster. That's awesome. We have the ability to tag moves. We covered that in the previous video. Things like we have ping connection indicators now to be enabled online options. Forever King is now added for King of the Hill. That's great for just general lobby play, fantastic even. Down to some things just like invasions. You can now move faster in invasions. So that's great, especially because we'll have the new invasion season coming up not too long from now. So just moving around the board faster, I like it. And of course, perhaps the most important change here, in story mode, Ninja Mime Time Invader will no longer talk, because he's a mime, right? So yeah, there's a lot of like little sub changes, bug fixes, all that. Once again, full patch notes in the video description, you want to check it out. But let's talk the character specifics and the cameo and balance specifics going through the roster. Not every single character has a change, just FYI, and I'll have them timestamped to the best of my ability for you. But some characters do have minor changes, some characters have major changes, and there is some universal changes as well, and that's what we'll talk about first. Universal cameo changes, and then we'll go to the rest of the cast. Now, one of the big changes out of the gate for just cameo usage in combos. So cameo usage in combos, if you have the type of cameo assist that you can use multiple times in a combo, like say Sonya, say Scorpion, that kind of stuff, if you use them twice in a combo, there will be a meter regeneration penalty. So say I do a basic roll combo here, like in and of itself, nothing too special, right? And the cameo regeneration is the same it's ever been. But if I call Sonya twice in this combo, but if I use the assist twice in a combo, and obviously not an optimal combo, the recharge rate is slightly penalized. It's different character to character, so Sonya less than some other characters. Let me show you an example where it's penalized more heavily. So Scorpion, another great character for just quick juggles and all that. Like that's basically the reason you pick him. You pick him for quick instant juggles with ambushes and generally add more to any combo you're going to do. So his recharge rate also affected a bit. Not wildly so. Across the board, other characters have this like Goro too. It's a little different character to character, and it's not like a wild curtail, but you can definitely notice it. So once again, not meant to be an optimal combo, but the recharge rate looks about 20% or so less. So it's just going to take you longer to get to it. Once again, if you pick a Scorpion, you're basically only using him for combos anyways. But for everyone that you call twice in a combo for any cameo now, the recharge rate is going to be a little bit less. So Ashrah's eaten a tiny nerf to her forward 3. So still an amazing overhead. You're still going to want to use it. One of the things about this move is it can be 2-in-1 canceled. So you can cancel it into any special move when it connects, or specifically if it gets blocked, which is one of the reasons why it's very strong. Like say with the use of some cameos like your best friend for life Goro, you can get some really silly stuff going on, right? However, now specifically if the move is up block canceled, the universal mechanic, it is now no longer 2-in-1 cancelable. You will lose the ability to cancel into a special move. You know, with Goro especially, like there's very little counterplay sometimes, right? But at least if you properly up block it now, you can stop the offense where it is, because you don't get the special cancel into anything else. So basically, if you know what's coming, you can kind of pump the brakes on the train just a little bit. Overall, Ashrah is still an amazing character. This is a very fair nerf, so one for the history books, I guess. So Baraka, basically damage nerfs, and one bug fix which does affect balance. So with Baraka, obviously his pal for life Cyrax also got nerfed, right? Basically anything you do with a combo that has to use chop chop or stab stab, these moves here, if you interrupt that with a cameo call, you're going to do less damage overall. That's kind of how it is. So his thing is that he's a high damage character, And he will remain a high damage character, but some of the more absurd damage routes he has with multiple assist callouts will be curtailed just a little bit. So now I know you're looking at like, wow, 46% for one bar and a cameo? Like, that seems like a lot. And, well, yeah, it is. It's still pretty dang good damage. But that used to do almost 600 damage. It did like 590 something. I can't remember the exact number. So that is basically on the back of, because I called the cameo after stab stab here, you're going to do less damage. So anything with stab stab chop chop where you call the cameo after the fact and, you know, keep recomboing, you're going to do less damage. Baraka is still a high damage character, but he's not absolutely absurd damage character now. Now, the other thing that is a bug fix, but a bug fix that affects balance, is adjusted his victim region when stand blocking and up blocking. So Baraka is effectively the shortest character in the game. As far as like hurtbox issues go, he's almost like you know, like a Kid Goku, Gotenks like rat style character in Dragon Ball FighterZ, or like Yoda in Soul Calibur, in that a lot of things could unfairly go over his head. A good case example is Mileena just stand 1-2, right? Before, like, he could basically, even though the second hit's an overhead, he could duck it. He could just go through a lot of the moves, right? Obviously not intended, where he could either go through the overhead or, you know, crouch mid or stuff like that. It actually wildly affected that matchup. So now that and some other small issues are fixed. So Baraka is more like a normal character in this way. It's a bug fix, but it's a bug fix where it technically nerfs him a little bit as it gives him an unfair advantage on some characters. But yeah, that said, it's just basically damage nerf, but it's only damage nerf if you use certain assist combos. And of course, everyone uses Cyrax, right? And Cyrax got nerfed too. So the Baraka Cyrax dream might be dead, or at least curtailed a little bit, but I still think he's going to survive it. Now, Geras, the changes are kind of in line with how Baraka was changed. So Geras is still an exceptionally high damage character. Do not worry about that, right? You can get that damage. But certain things like his grab string off 1-2-2, if you use an ambush to kind of cancel the animation early and recombo from it, you're going to do less damage. Same thing with the command grab. If you use in combos and create some odd combos either through assists, interrupting animations, or through, say, you know, his odd time stop special, just interrupting yourself, you'll do less overall damage. His high damage situations are a bit more edge case than Baraka's in that way, but overall he plays basically exactly the same, just in really weird combo situations he'll do a little bit less overall damage, so it's a bit overtuned, but otherwise he's still Geras. Now, at the risk of sounding like a broken record this early on, you're going to find this in a lot of characters. Anything that you can interrupt with a cameo is going to scale. So say Bloodbath, right? Bloodbath, really good with Cyrax cameo. So if you interrupt the end of that with, say, a cameo, you're going to do less overall damage with your combo. Same deal here. His odd little command grab, if you want to call that, string grab from back 2-2. If you call any cameos, if you use a cameo to somehow interrupt it, it is now subject to advanced scaling, like many other things. So that's basically it, and there's some bug fixes, but you're going to see this for a lot of the characters. Basically, a lot of situations where you're kind of gaming the system, as it were, with a cameo, you now will just be subject to less damage. You still get the combos you can get before. That part's not going to change, right? You can still do what you did before, but in certain situations where damage was out of control, basically, it's more in line with what it should be. So for Kitana, buffs. Not big buffs, but technically buffs, so take what you can get, right? Specifically, back 1 and stand 3. So the hit reaction, like how the opponent just gets hit in general, has been changed up, and they have made sure now on both hits, back 1, stand 3, you're now advantage on hit. So now back 1, if it connects, you're +4. Stand 3, if it connects, you're +7. So small, that's it. Like, there ain't nothing else. So, but technically you could count her as buff. So there you go. Kung Lao, some tiny changes. So 1, hat toss, if you do it up close. So now hat toss when done up close has positive hit advantage. Before you'd be negative. Now if you successfully hit the enemy, you don't get punished for it, right? So now if you do it point blank, you're +7. Obviously, normally, as it would be further away, the more and more you'd be plus. But point blank, if for whatever reason would hit from point blank, don't do this move point blank. If for whatever reason it would hit, it would be advantage now. Now, for 4-2, the overhead, it says that it no longer has 10 more frames of blocks done if flawless blocked. So basically now it's always going to be -19. So even if you're flawless blocked instead of regular blocked, regardless, it's going to be the same frame data as it was regardless. Like, there's now no difference between regular block and flawless blocking this move. And a nerf, which I think is very fair, slightly increased combo scaling after enhanced Shaolin Shimmy. So that's his EX reversal. So if you're not aware, his EX reversal, on top of naturally being a reversal that's armored, is also completely safe on block at -7, except for like the few characters that have 6 framers. And with, you know, the right cameo, you can combo after the fact, and guess what? That's still almost 30%, which is ridiculous for a safe on block armored reversal, right? So I unfortunately didn't test this combo beforehand because we didn't know, because we didn't have patch notes. But if it does a little bit less, more than fair, because you're playing with a tool that like no one else gets to work with, because back 4-2 enhanced is ridiculous as it stands. So whatever combo you get, just be thankful you can get combos on your safe on block armored reversal, right? So there you go. Now, for Mileena, like some of the other characters in the games, so 2-1, 1+3, and enhanced roll specifically, same deal. If for whatever reason you use a cameo to knock them out of the animation and otherwise let the animation not complete in full, your combo will scale now more than it did before. You know, Mileena could pull some absolutely absurd numbers with Scorpion, and, well, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles now. You're going to be doing a little bit less. Once again, multiple characters affected by it. It's not just Mileena. They just don't want some of the exceptional damage numbers, I guess, because this game is already close to a 2-touch game sometimes as it is. So yeah, affecting multiple characters, not just Mileena, but it is technically a nerf. So Nitara, really good quality of life buff here. One, a bug fix that actually just ups her overall damage. It says fix an issue that's causing all special moves to do less damage on block than was expected. So basically, you'll do more chip. Hey, that's great, right? Now here's the big one, Blood Sacrifice. So Blood Sacrifice is a move that basically powers up all your stuff, right? So say you bite someone while in Blood Sacrifice, you can heal yourself. That's really cool. But before, the issue with Blood Sacrifice is it did too much self-damage. You hurt yourself while doing the move, right? So to be able to be health positive, generally had to burn bar, because bar also like steals health from the enemy. And, you know, burning bar, like, you know, maybe you want to burn bar on movement, because movement's kind of a big deal for the character, right? But now, instead of doing 5% damage to you, Blood Sacrifice deals 0.5%. So it did 50, now does 5. So it's way, way less damage, just negligible damage now, versus it kind of hurt. Because Nitara is the lowest health character in the game, if you're unaware, right? Her default health is 900. Like, other characters even picking a negative health cameo struggle to get the 900. But yeah, so her self-damage mechanic as the lowest health character in the game now barely deals damage. It allows her to go into her kind of life-stealing mechanics a lot better, a lot easier. And the EX version, considering it already steals health, you know, buffs her moves, all that kind of stuff, it just becomes a much more usable move overall. Expect people to actually go for this now, because the reward is so much bigger than it's ever been, because you're not hurting yourself, right? It's now reasonable. You can expect once you go for Blood Sacrifice, you can be positive health by the end of whatever sequence you're going for, versus you're definitely probably still losing health overall. So this makes this move just so much more usable, regular and EX. And once again, I like the EX version of the move. Like, just passive health drain, the enemy can't block or defend against it. I've always liked it. Just, you know, the health cost was the thing. Now that it's not a thing, big buff, big buff. Now for Raiden, Raiden's all of his core good stuff is still his core good stuff, just like Baraka, basically damage and nerfs, right? So say back 2, right? Same deal as like some of the other. If you hit him out of the sync animation, he's just going to be doing less damage overall in whatever combo you might be able to nab. Shocker, if you hit him out of the animation and recombo, you're going to be doing less overall damage like so many other moves. Enhanced Shocker by itself, the EX version, now will cause more advanced combo scaling. This is not based on any cameo. This one's just actually a nerf to the actual move. And Superman, same deal. If you knock him out of the animation, whatever, with any cameo, you're going to be doing less damage in your combo, right? So, kind of in line, the characters that do exceptionally high damage are going to be doing less damage across the board. Now, Rain, one of the things out of the gate here, it's technically a bug fix, but it's definitely a nerf, Before, if you were not aware, his jump 2 could not be up blocked. Like, you could do it, but it wouldn't actually like give you what you would expect, like the punish or anything like that. So he could just kind of ignorantly jump in with jump 2 with a pretty little consequence. And now, as you would suspect, it is susceptible to up block. However, in training mode, which, you know, I'm trying to show you how this stuff works, right? Training mode actually refuses to up block it still. Like you can see, I have it set to up block, right? And it won't up block it. It won't do it. Like I can do any other jumping attack, jump 3, jump 4, jump 1, right? It'll up block all those, but it won't up block this. So I have made my own recording of the thing manually up blocking to show you, yes, it can up block it. But the bot won't up block it to save its life for whatever reason. So there you go. Now here's a big buff, Rain God. So the big F off projectile. So the hit reaction is different. So it still bounces the enemy up, but you may notice it doesn't bounce them far away anymore, right? So when it comes to certain Kameo usages, all that, if you want to recombo, or say even yourself if you're close, because, you know, you can actually dash forward now and hit him with some buns. So that's actually a really nice quality of life change. If you get the hit, you can, you know, follow up, especially if, you know, they're closer or mid-range. You can actually hit them with yourself. You don't need to use the Kameo. You can get your own thing going on. So good quality of life buff just to the move overall. Also, some of his air strings have new hit reactions, and that is with some other characters across the board. And generally speaking, that means new combo routes. I don't have one for you right now, unfortunately, but you can definitely get some new stuff playing around with the new hit reactions. So overall, a bug fix, which is unnerved technically, but just Rain God being definitely better to use, as you can get more damage potential either close or mid-screen. That'll be interesting to see where that goes. Now for Reiko, it says Savage Siege, which is stand 4-3. The hit reaction has been adjusted. Now, don't confuse me for a Reiko main. I'm not too sure. But if I remember right, send them flying much further away before, just in general of how the string works. So I think they're a bit closer, so therefore potentially more combo potential. Please post in the comments below if you actually know. Once again, I'm not a Reiko guy, but here's the one thing I do know about Reiko, and that is the dunks. And unfortunately, the Reiko Darius synergy on command grabs has been curtailed just a little bit. So like so many other moves, if you interrupt the move with a Kameo call, your damage is gonna be scaled. So there we go. It's about 32%. It used to do about 38%. So less damage overall. So it's not like the biggest nerf. It's about 6%, but it is still a nerf, right? Like the whole reason you pick Darius if you're going with Reiko is for that setup. So, you know, sizable damage nerf to the setup definitely hurts a bit. You can still do it, but it doesn't taste as good when you do. So Reptile. Reptile's got some good quality of life changes, not the least of which EX Invisibility now does something. You actually go invisible faster now. So before, regular invisibility and EX invisibility were the same. There was literally no difference. There was absolutely no point to spend the meter. Now, enhanced invisibility, you go invisible much, much, much faster. So there's an actual use to it now. That's great. So like Rain, there's a new hit animation on one of his air strings. So jump 1-2 causes a new float state. And you can absolutely combo into and from this float state, which is really, really handy. So not the least of which, it just opens up new combo routes, right? And new combo routes is always handy, right? You know, get just to squeeze a couple more % out of a combo meterlessly. Great, awesome, like it. Also, a big change which is unlisted. There's nothing in the patch notes that says anything about this, but his overall damage is going up. So I did a starter guide, you know, beginner guide for Reptile not too long ago, and one of the example combos I used was this. And let me tell you, that didn't do 37.5% damage before. Before, that did 35%. Now it does 37%. So he's doing more damage just across the board, right? This is not listed in the patch notes anywhere. I don't know what exactly is the differentiator here. I'm assuming it has to work with force ball scaling specifically, because right here, just this part of the combo does 152. Before it did 150. So I think force ball scaling has been laxed up a little bit, meaning just generally across the board, because you're going to use force ball on combos, you're doing more damage. So now, basic B&B, you get 2% more, 37% for a meterless basic B&B off a basic hit confirm string is ridiculous. I always used to say, you know, people accuse him of being a low damage character. Now he's a high damage character. Let's just call for what it is. He's a high damage character. An easy hit confirm, no meter spent, 37%, crazy. So yeah, good quality of life changes regardless. You know, new combo routes potentially, and just doing more damage overall. Once again, not listed in the patch notes, but he's definitely doing more damage overall. Big time win for Reptile. Oh, and if you interrupt death roll with a cameo, it does less damage, like half the cast. For Scorpion, jump 1-2, just like Reptile, just like, you know, some of the other characters, the hit reaction's a little bit different here, causes like a bit of an air float state. So play around with it. I'm sure all new combos are going to be possible thanks to that. And jump 1-3 specifically here, hit reaction adjusted. So we got the big old bounce. I'm not a Scorpion player, I'm sorry. I don't remember what it was before. I thought it was a bounce before, but if I'm wrong, please post in the comments below. But otherwise, Scorpion, mostly the same. Now, Shang Tsung, small change, but change I like. Depending on your costume, old Shang will now have a color palette depending on whatever costume you're holding on, right? Before, he was always the same old Shang Tsung no matter what. Now his colors will match whatever young Shang is, which is good. It's not like gameplay or anything, but it's fluff. And I like old Shang Tsung more than young Shang Tsung, so I like that a lot. Just small quality of life. Now, when it comes to changes here, so jump 2-2, the same new kind of flip hit stun that we have on some other jumping strings that you've seen throughout the video. He now has that. And jumping 1-2-2 now knocks the enemy less far away than it did before. Now, for certain things like injection, like so many other things, if you knock it out of the injection move with a cameo, you'll still get whatever combo you're going to get, but it's going to do less damage. That's kind of across the board. For Old Shang, Ground Skull and Air Ground Skull build less meter on hit now specifically. This is to curtail the fact that depending on your combo, you can get a lot of these in a combo, so it kind of had his meter gain out of control, so kind of reining that in just a little bit. And besides that, a lot of bug fixes, especially when it comes to, like, you know, stealing form, and then any status effects could cause weird glitch out stuff. A lot of those are fixes all in the patch notes. But yeah, so small changes for Shang overall. So Tanya, some interesting changes. First up here, 1-2-2, this string here, has been changed in that the final hit, the last hit right there, the big bonk, has 2 more active frames and recovers 2 frames faster if you whiff. So, you know, if you whiff it, less death on whiff, I guess. And specifically, if you hit someone in the air, it now just like splats them on the ground like it would if they were grounded. Air Heavenly Hands here, it now says has an increased hitbox when you're using combos specifically, so easier to hit with when you're in a combo, and change the hit reaction when you're hitting an airborne foe. So as you can see here now, regular shot, just, you know, slight juggle, and if you hit him with the EX, it is now a gigantic ground bounce. So that's different. For 1+3, like so many other moves, if you interrupt this string with a cameo, then your combo, which you can still do, will do overall less damage. Back 2-3 can now be up blocked, and I have to manually set the recording to do this, because once again, just like the rain section, the computer will not up block it, but trust me, you can up block it now. It does work. And for the most part, it's considered a bug fix, but her flippy kicks here can no longer pass through over opponents. It's stated as a bug fix, but it's definitely a buff, considering, you know, it could randomly just go through people and you get punished on the other side. That's good. Now, that's the characters. Let's talk the cameos. So, like said before at the start of the video, any combos that do a cameo call twice, the cameo recharge is going to be longer. That's, you know, Cyrax as well, but across the board. Now, speaking of Cyrax, the big one, I'm sure you know by now, but just in case you don't, Horizontal Copter now takes the full cameo meter. It is overwhelmingly, like, the best thing you could do in the game for the most part. And the game was sort of evolving into, like, Cyrax and friends, right? Like, you pick Cyrax and then you do whatever, and you better believe there's going to be hella Cyrax copters getting called. So that has been curtailed. It's basically still does what it does, still useful in all the same ways, but you cannot just spam and abuse it in the same way anymore. Besides that, just all copter combos are subject to more scaling. But hey, there is a little buff, technically. So now if you do horizontal copter, the recharge rate is slightly faster than it normally was. Of course, you lose the whole bar instead of just a segment of the bar. So, you know, that's the nerf. But the actual recharge rate on the move itself is just a smidge bit faster than it was before. Now, Kung Lao, so probably enemy number 2 besides Cyrax, did eat a nerf. So all forms of low hat, you know, basic version, held version, whatever. Now when you do it, it will recharge slightly slower. Now, as you can see, it's not a slow recharging move. It's still fast. But it used to be extra fast, and now it's only regular fast. So that's a nerf, but yo, it's still a very, very good move. Don't get it confused for nothing. Now, there's another thing that's technically a bug fix, which is a nerf, but this was coming, like, this is deserved. So before, if you called Lao Kameo as a reversal, invisible reversal, he would do a spin, right? But it would launch like the regular spin does. This was absolutely not intended. There's other characters that have launching cameos that can be done as reversals, and theirs didn't launch. So now it's basically a bug fix. You get your hit like you should when done as a reversal, but it doesn't just launch and you get a full combo on top of it. So technically a nerf, but it was never meant to be that way before, and is now brought in line with the other reversals. And besides that, that's kind of it. Lao is still amazing, and now with Cyrax being nerfed, debatably he's the best cameo in the game. Now Serena, just like all the other, you know, cameos, if you call her twice in a combo, she's gonna, you know, have more scaling like on her regeneration of her meter, and that's not new. I'm only mentioning it because, you know, everyone does the double boomerangs on any hit. So just keep in mind that if you do it, by the time your combo is over, unlike before, it's not going to be a guarantee that she's just going to be ready to go again, right? So maybe watch out on just going crazy on the double boomerangs. Now that said, this is technically a bug fix, the next thing, but it's a major buff. So the meter drain. So meter drain still drains meter as it did before. But before, you know, how Mortal Kombat works, if you get hit, you get meter. That's how the game is. And before, if you had meter drain up and you hit them, they would still gain meter, which, you know, neglected, you know, it curtailed a lot of what made meter drain good. But now, bug fix, you no longer gain meter if you're getting hit when the curse is active. This makes this much stronger and much, much better. So it's much more worth your while to do, because say if you get that stray hit, right, then your gains won't be just thrown away, because they'll just regain whatever meter you just drained away. Now, they can't gain meter no matter what while this is up, and that's very good. So, you know, boomerang, still boomerang, really, really good. Just don't spam it too much to get that enhanced, you know, delay on your regeneration of your meter. And the meter drain's better. So yeah, Serena's doing all right. And specifically for our boy Shujinko, lots of bug fixes for like all sorts of moves against all sorts of characters. I'll let you refer to the main patch notes for that. And that's about it. So overall, it's a very interesting patch. They notice where the power level of certain things are going. Specifically, the big things are curtailed are Cyrax, because the game was devolving into Cyrax and friends, straight up. Like, the game was just becoming, you pick whatever character in Cyrax, and that was it. And you did whatever, you make everything safe, because Cyrax Copter makes everything safe. Flawless block to remove chip, whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. Like, it's not a big deal, because it still made everything safe, it still made everything my turn. Cyrax, 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 spin, 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 forever, forever, forever. That had to go. And I'm glad it did. And besides that, cases of exceptionally high damage have been kind of brought down a bit. And there's a couple, you know, small twinkers, you know, here and there. But overall, I'm a fan of it. And then the thing is, there's a lot of hidden changes. If you didn't see the Reptile section, his damage is increased across the board, and they didn't say anything about it. So that's a little weird. And I don't know what they're going to do with that. And if there's that hidden, you know, unlisted change, I guarantee you there is more hidden and unlisted changes. And we're just going to have to figure it out over time. So if you know some of those, please, by all means, post in the comments below. But otherwise, that is your guide to the first major balance patch of Mortal Kombat 1. So hope this video helped you out. If you watched all the way through, hey, leave a like. It helps out a lot. And otherwise, that's the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some Mortal Kombat.